Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different, something that I've nevertheless had my eye on since day one, and that is a brand new RTS, which is really like a spiritual successor to the Command & Conquer franchise, and this one is developed by Slipgate Ironworks, it's published by 3D Realms, and it is called Tempest Rising. I am almost certain, whatever RTS background you come from, that you will have heard of this game at one point or another. So first of all, thank you so much to Slipgate Ironworks for sending a key my way so I can have a go on the game. I've put in around 7 or 8 hours so far playing only on the campaign, so this is not going to be a full review by any stretch of the imagination, but I just wanted to give you guys my first impressions of this because, spoiler alert, it's a really good game, and quite frankly, it puts EA's latest offering of Command & Conquer 4 to shame. So currently in the game we have two factions, the GDF or the Global Defense Forces, and they are battling against the Tempest Dynasty. This is a dystopian alternative universe where this strange plant-like substance has come up called Tempest, and that has been harnessed as some sort of a resource. It can then be harvested by both the GDF and the Tempest Dynasty, so it's very reminiscent of the Tiberium saga from Command & Conquer, and indeed there are going to be a lot of things in this game that really reminds you of that, and I'm almost certain that that was their intent. This is what they were going for. But Tempest Rising still does enough to put its own interesting spin on things. Now, first off, as you can obviously tell, the graphics are really fantastic. I love the visual effects. Performance is actually fantastic as well. Maybe you guys can see the frame rate counter up in the top right there, although it is a little bit grayed out, but I'm getting somewhere around 230, 240 FPS. Granted, I am on a pretty powerful system with a 5090 on it, so maybe your performance will vary, but it's still very good, and I've heard from other people as well that they've had great performance, even on much older systems. The sound of the game is fantastic as well. The music especially, it has a heavier vibe for it because of course they got Frank Klepacki in from Command & Conquer fame to come and do some of the tracks in this title, but there are also other composers there as well, and there is a great mixture here. There are some really heavy tracks, some heavy metal stuff, but there are also some more laid-back kind of futuristic tracks with a pulsing beat to them. The controls are really tight and responsive. They've got several options in here as well to allow you to, for example, move your army all at the same pace, so if you have some vehicles that move very quickly and infantry soldiers that move very slowly, you can hold Alt on the keyboard and then click and everything will sort of sync up and move at the same speed so your infantry doesn't get left behind, or you can change it in the options so it does that as default when you right click to move. The hotkeys are a little bit strange and unfamiliar to me. It takes some getting used to. You've got all of the buildings and the units on like the F hotkeys, so if you plan to really get into this game and the multiplayer setting, then you definitely want to spend some time maybe learning that. I think they are customizable, although I'm going to be honest here, I haven't really played around with that too much. Now, you will be very pleased to hear that the campaign for this game is absolutely fantastic. They have done the campaign perfectly, I would say. So far, I've only gotten to around mission 5 or 6 on the GDF campaign, so I haven't done the Tempest Dynasty one yet, but the way it's going so far, they've really just hit this with all the bells and whistles. You've got cinematics between each and every mission, very reminiscent again of Command & Conquer. You've got these briefings with pretty well-acted cinematic scenes.
Good to see you, Commander. I've been catching up on your work since I landed. I've got to say, I'm impressed.
It's not the best dialogue, and some of it may be a little bit cliche, but I really think it still fits the overall tone of the game. And if I had to give one small critique here, I would say that the facial animations can feel a little bit sort of stilted and out of sync with the audio that I'm hearing. In fact, sometimes so much so that some of the characters that have masks on look more natural to me because then I can't even see their mouths moving. But again, that is a bit of a small nitpick. Outside of that though, you are going to see absolutely everything that you would expect from a brand new Command & Conquer game. You could easily in fact have sold this to me and told me that this was Command & Conquer 5 and EA had brought back the Command & Conquer franchise again, and I would have believed you because the quality bar is definitely up there. Now, I've compared this game a lot to Command & Conquer, and I do think that's fair, but at the same time, the team at Slipgate Ironworks have really gone out of their way to put a lot of new and interesting stuff and set it aside from Command & Conquer to offer something new and innovative. So each side has tons of different abilities and nuances to how they can be played. And as a small example here, one of the first infantry units that you get for the GDF are these drone operators, and you can actually independently remote control the drones in a radius around the drone operator and use them to do specific strike attacks. And then there's a lot of interesting interplay between the different units as well. So again, as a bit of an example, the first vehicle you get for the GDF is called the Sentinel, and you can switch between two different kinds of ammunition. One of them will do more damage against infantry, but the other one is called marking rounds. And then if you attack those marked targets, certain vehicles such as the Hunter tank, they actually are more effective against marked targets. So those two vehicles sort of play well together. Then you've got the Riot Van, which has an AoE stun for infantry, and it can also house infantry and shuttle them around. You've got the comms rig that you can deploy, and when deployed, it will give you like an area of effect around it that basically makes your units move faster. You can also lay mines with it. Basically, every single vehicle or unit in the game has one, if not multiple, different abilities. So if you want to play this game very simplistically, and maybe you're not an RTS veteran, and you just want to sort of A-move with the unit, you can put this game on easy mode and definitely get away with doing that. But if you really want to get stuck in and make use of the interplay and the different abilities between units, then this is really like one of those games that you can just like sink your teeth into. And then when it comes to the two different factions, there are quite a few differences here as well. So you could probably call the GDF the more normal sort of default faction, if you like. So the way that they harvest the Tempest is you have a refinery, you send out a harvester, and it simply gathers up the Tempest and brings back. But then for the Tempest Dynasty, you actually have these rigs that you send out, deploy them next to the Tempest, and they have these little mini sort of refiners that go out, harvest the Tempest, and then return to the rig, and you can build multiple of these from the vehicle factory. Also, the building system is different, so for the GDF, you place down a blueprint on the ground, and then you have to wait for it to fully build until you can use it, and let's say a building costs $1,000, you're going to have to spend that $1,000 right at the start to begin building, whereas the Tempest Dynasty, they have the more old-fashioned way of doing things, where you can start building a building with no money, and it will gradually complete in the build bar once you've accrued the full $1,000, and then when it's ready you can plant it down on the ground. Now you'll notice in the top right of the screen we've got money, but we also have another indicator there which is for intel. And intel can be gathered in the game through various means. Some buildings generate it passively, some units have special abilities that generate income, just like the Sentinel. And intel is used alongside regular money to construct specific structures and units. So there are specialists in this game. For example, the Riot Medic is a powerful infantry support that can heal your units. He can also place down like a healing beacon to heal in an area of effect. You can get a sniper specialist. There's a comms officer specialist that increases how much intel you gather. And again, just like with the vehicles here, a lot of the infantry really play off of each other, and they have various different abilities to buff each other and play into one another's strengths and weaknesses. And then on the left side of the screen there, you can see this little bar. Those are your in-game call-ins, and as you research them, those will also require not just money, but also intel to call those in. So you can call in a Riot Van complete with an assortment of infantry. You can call in a Tempest strike, which is like an airstrike. You can put down a beacon that lets you build around it for a short period of time. And with all of these different things at your disposal, you know, there really is just so much to delve into as a new player, learn how this all works, and get some really nice synergistic plays going on with the different units and the abilities. Now, another system that's pretty cool in the game is between each mission, you get a chance to sort out your Doctrines and your armory. So Doctrines are points that can be spent to give you passive buffs to your entire army, and you can choose to spend these however you want. There are 3 different categories here. We've got communications, mobility, and then intel. So for example, here in the mobility, rapid deployment means that structures are built 20% faster, and then they will also return 50% bonus credits if you sell them. And that's the path that I chose to work my way along here, but clearly this system is going to offer another layer of replayability to the game. And then arguably the cooler system is the armory. So you can buy skills in the armory, and you need credits to do this that you get at the end of each mission, and the more side objectives that you accomplish in the mission, the more of these credits that you get, right? And so what you do is you unlock them, and you can see there on the left donated by the number, that is the number of slots on the right side that they are going to take to equip. So once you unlock one, you can then equip it in the right side in the loadout, and again, the more you progress through the campaign, the more of those slots you are going to unlock. And some of them completely change the way units work. So, for example, there is one upgrade called Laser Drones, which makes all drones, instead of firing micro missiles, they now fire lasers. So, like I was talking about before, the drone controllers, one of the very early infantry that you get in the game, these now start firing lasers all over the place. And then you can start to weave these together. So we've got another one called laser focus lenses, and that makes all laser weapons gain 30% bonus range. So you can see how this goes, right? The more you progress through this tree, you're sort of fundamentally changing the way the faction works. And again, this is going to be very replayable. You can reset this. I believe you only get one reset per campaign, but if you wanted to play this through on a normal difficulty and then play through on hard difficulty, or even the insane difficulty that they do have here, which I guess is like their equivalent of brutal, then this is going to just offer, a lot of replayability in that regard. As for the campaign length, we have 11 missions here for the GDF. Like I say, I haven't started on the Tempest Dynasty side yet, but I can only assume it's going to be a similar length, so definitely I would say that's fair, that's a good amount. And in all of these missions, there are tons of primary and secondary objectives to complete, so you don't have to do them all if you don't want to, but I like to, not just because you're going to get these extra points here to unlock more skills in the armory, but just because it's fun. And the way they've done the missions, again, is just very reminiscent of that old school RTS way of doing things. So we've got different kind of missions. You've got the kind where you've got to move into a base, take it over with an engineer, and then build things up again. You've got specialist missions where you're playing with a sniper that can cloak. You've got defend the base missions, and everything in between. Now, obviously, outside of the campaign, there are also skirmishes, and then there's the multiplayer mode. Now, I haven't played either of these yet, but what I have heard from the skirmishes side of thing is that the AI may be a little bit too on the easy side, even on the hardest difficulty. So if you're the kind of player who loves to play against multiple AI in skirmishes, and that's what you want to get this game for, there might be a chance you want to hold off on that. But I can assume here that for the developers to change that, it's not going to be too difficult. So they almost certainly will have heard the feedback around that and are going to be looking into it. Now, for the multiplayer mode, at the moment, you've got custom games and then you've got quick play. Ranked is grayed out, so that is planned to come in the future. And if that's something that you want to jump into straight away, again, you might want to hold off until it's available. But I got to tell you guys, this game is probably worth it for the campaign alone. Now, bear in mind, this is not a sponsored video. Yes, they did give me a key for the game, but if they hadn't of, I would have definitely bought this by myself, because I played the demo, I was even in the beta, I had a great time there. There was no campaign stuff in the beta, it was just like multiplayer. But for me, like, these Command & Conquer games, they're mainly about the campaign. So, unlike StarCraft and Stormgate and stuff like that, where I'm really in that for the multiplayer, Command & Conquer style games have really just been about that interesting campaign, the storyline of it, and all of that. So that's really where I'm coming from when I look at Tempest Rising. And as the old saying goes, if you're going to do something not very innovative, then you better make sure that you do it damn well. And I think the things in the game that aren't very innovative and are very close to Command & Conquer have been done extremely well. In fact, I would say they were done as good as, if not even better, than EA have sometimes done them in the past. But as I already mentioned, there is enough new and innovative stuff here where you are going to be surprised. It's not going to feel like you're playing Command & Conquer or some sort of a remake of that game, but it's still hitting all the right notes for a fan of the franchise. I can highly recommend the game. It's been a lot of fun, so I hope you guys enjoyed these first impressions. By all means, leave me your comments down below and let me know what you think of the game. Are you already playing it? Do you plan to pick this one up? Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more RTS goodness, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.